What's up, YouTubers? It's your girl Shannon from EV and Chill, and today is going to be a super exciting day because we are taking our brand new Hyundai Ioniq 5 on its first ever road trip. So that means we'll be leaving red light district here, and she's looking a little dirty, but that's okay. I'm gonna shut the garage. No one's gonna see her. So we're gonna take the Ioniq on a road trip. We're gonna go from Washington, D.C. to Stanton, Virginia, to Massanutten Ski Resort, back to Stanton and back to D.C., all over the course of the next 4 days. So that means we're gonna be doing lots of charging at some DC fast chargers. Now this is all-wheel drive. It has a rated range of 256 miles. But y'all, okay, it gets cold at ski resorts, so I'm really curious to see how that's gonna impact the range once we get there. But we do have her charged up to 100%. So let's check out her current rated range. And right now, let's see, we've got 275 miles with the AC on, 293 miles with it off. Y'all, mama likes to be comfortable, so we're gonna keep those vents on. Oh, and it's windy. But before we go, I want to show you guys the cargo area because there is a lot of junk in our trunk. You think we'd be going for like a month, but we're only going for 4 days. But back here we've got a large suitcase, a carry-on suitcase, 2 duffels, some water because my family get thirsty. But it fits a lot back here. Now I do have to manually close the hatch because this is the SE trim level. But let's get going and let's hit the road. On the interstate right now. Peep J3, he is so cute, he's passed out. But we are on our way to Fredericksburg. We are about 15 miles outside of it. We're gonna stop there, we're gonna grab some lunch, and we're gonna stop at an Electrify America DC fast charger. Now technically we have enough range to get us to Stanton, Virginia and to Massanutten. However, I wanna test it out in Fredericksburg, make sure everything works properly, because once we get to Massanutten, there are no level 3 chargers around us. So we're gonna be fully relying on a 110 volt from our cabin. I'm hoping that's gonna be in an easily accessible area. That's gonna be a little bit interesting. But just in case it's not easily accessible, I did bring an extension cord. So I'm gonna put you down for now and I'll pick you back up when we start to charge. We made it to the EA station. You can see it there. Right now we've gone about 39 miles. We're averaging about 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. And we've been rolling in eco mode, so that's helping to really maximize our range. And I think what's really cool about that is that even though it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, our front engine has been disengaged. So like on those long stretches of highway, the second motor isn't always necessary. So kudos to you, Hyundai. That was a genius move. Now we're gonna take a hot second, we're gonna eat our lunch. And I just found a really awesome use for this empty space right here. I was wondering, like, it's good for my purse. What else is it good for? This space in the console perfectly fits our food. Genius. Okay, so we are gonna eat so no one is hangry on this road trip, and we're gonna charge at the same time. 2 birds, 1 stone. All right, we're all done with lunch and we're all done with charging, and we are at 100% battery with a rated range of 288 miles. And something I noticed, and you saw this in the B-roll, I put some clips in, is that while it was charging, we were getting 33 kilowatts all the way up to 96% of a charge. And then after 96%, it went down to 30 kilowatts. And if you know a lot about EVs, you would know that generally with other EVs, once it hits that 80% threshold, the charge kind of tapers off a lot. And this one didn't do that. It kept kind of chugging along. So that's really impressive. But now that we're at 100% and we're done with lunch, we're gonna get ready to go. So let's go ahead and unplug this here. It's a little windy and still chilly outside. And normally this charge, it would have cost $5.16. But like I mentioned in my last video, when you buy a new Hyundai, you get 2 years of free charging at Electrify America for your first half hour. So this was free for us, but now it's time to hit the road again. We're now in Stanton, Virginia, and we are at our second EA charger of the day. You can see it there. And check out that Mach-e. It is popping in that red color. Love that booty. But let's check out our current stats for this part of the drive. So it looks like we were averaging 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. If you can see that right there. And we are currently at 59% of a battery charge. And I feel like 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour, I don't think that's too terrible, especially considering the fact that we were driving through the mountains, so there was a lot of like ups and downs. And I'll be real with you, we were doing a little spirited driving in sport mode, had to test it out for research purposes. But now we're gonna top it off one last time before we get to Massanutten, and we're gonna go in Walmart since we are in a Walmart parking lot. We're just gonna stretch our legs, probably buy something because it's Walmart. And then we're gonna go to our cabin where we will investigate what kind of charging situation we'll have there. Again, hopefully it's a good one, but I'll check in with you there. By the time we got in last night, ate dinner and everything, it was real late, it was real dark. So today's the next day, but I want to show you our charging situation, and I'm gonna try to talk quietly because there are other people here. But we figured out a way to charge our car pretty easily, but I am really glad we brought the extension cord. You'll see in just a second. But overall, first impressions of bringing the Ioniq on a road trip are really great. It's a really awesome travel vehicle. So far, we've had no issues charging. Okay, here we are. Whew, you guys, it is cold AF outside. But this is our little view right here. Okay, that over there, that is the Ioniq. You can see it's charged. So we found a 110 volt right here. You can see we've just draped the cords along the railing. It might look a little janky, but it is doing the job. Let's follow the cord all the way down. And you can see this is where we've got our extension hook up here, all the way to the car. And that 110 volt right there, that is pulling about 12 amps. So that equates to about 1.7 kilowatts. So that means that we are getting a charge of about 5 miles per hour. Now to me, I think that sounds pretty good because I was trying to equate that to what it would have been in my Tesla, and I think we'd be getting about 4 miles per hour. And if we still had our Mustang Mach-e, we'd be getting about 3 miles per hour. So overall, this is working out pretty well, especially considering at the resort, everything is a pretty close drive. So again, we're not going to be driving too far. And let me point out also, this extension cord, we're not sponsored by the company or anything, but if you are considering getting an EV or if you already have one, definitely consider getting an electric cord for situations like these. Otherwise, as you can see here, there's a drop-off. So it's not like we could have been able to pull our car any closer. We would have had to figure something else out. So definitely at least consider having an electric cord as a backup. For us, this one works out really well. It can go off of a 110 volt and a 240. I think it has a max of 40 amps. So this is working out really well for us. It was really cold. I'm gonna go get some hot chocolate, and then we're gonna go to the water park. So at the end of this trip, I'm gonna do a recap and share some other details with you. We're back in the car and we are heading back to DC. Wah, wah, wah. We are leaving the beautiful mountains. We're heading back to traffic. We're heading back to like bad drivers. I don't want to go home. I'd rather stay in our cabin. I think J3 definitely had a great time. He loved the water park. You look at him, he is passed out. He is worn out right now. That is like Dorito cheese dust right all over his face. He fell asleep while he was eating. That's how tired he is. But I'm gonna say that is a success in his book. I think he had a lot of fun. But while we head back, let's do a quick recap of our trip. And I'm gonna show you our stats right now. So you can see right here, we've got about 46 miles until we're home. We've gone 60 miles and we're averaging about 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. And we're driving in 40-degree weather. So I think, to me, that sounds pretty good, especially considering we were in the Shenandoah Mountains, so that's really like hilly terrain, I guess mountainous terrain. So I think, again, that's pretty impressive because it is pretty chilly out. Now, since we're in the car, let's talk about ride quality. Now, for me, I think this is pretty impressive. I would definitely recommend this vehicle as a road trip vehicle. If you cover long distances, I would consider this. It's really quiet on the inside. The suspension is really soft. Again, especially I think this trip was a perfect trip to test that. No matter where we were going, it was really smooth. if you want to carve corners, I would not recommend this vehicle for you. Although we did spend a lot of time in eco mode, but again, a super comfortable ride. Now, one thing I wish that Hyundai would have done would have been to include vents in the back. Even on the SE trim level that we're in, I think they should have included that because, again, if it's a road trip vehicle, you might have passengers back there. I know higher trim levels have it, but I think they kind of missed the boat putting it in this vehicle. Other than that, I have been highly impressed. Apple CarPlay, we've been using that with no glitches. And you wouldn't think that would be an issue, but for us coming from vehicles where we've had Apple CarPlay crash a lot, this was a big win for us. So that's been really smooth and no other problems with the infotainment at all. Let's talk about charging also. We did have one little hiccup at an Electrify America. Now, you saw us in Fredericksburg, and the EA station worked without a problem. Literally plugged in, connected, no issue. However, we did have one issue in Stanton, Virginia, when we were at an EA stall. We pulled up, other cars were charging fine, but the stall we pulled up to, we tried to connect and it just wouldn't work. So we simply hopped over to the next stall and we went to connect and it connected. But I think there was maybe a communication issue with the app, so we were not able to take advantage of the 30 minutes of free charging. It wasn't a huge issue, we just paid with a credit card. I think it cost maybe like $5. But again, just an observation that I made. And one recommendation I would make would be, regardless of the EV you have, if you do take road trips, I would highly, highly suggest that you do get an extension cord. I was glad that we brought ours because we ended up using it. And we're not sponsored by the extension cord company or anything like that, but I'll put a link in the description below for the one that we use. Personally, I like it because you can use it at a 110 volt and a 240 volt. It supports up to 40 amps, so that's really cool. Other than that, no other issues charging. I do want to talk about how, again, cold impacted range. And while we were at the ski resort, we didn't drive more than a few miles a day because everything was pretty centrally located to our cabin. And every morning we would wake up with a full battery. But I did notice our range sometimes in the morning when it was really cold, it would say we had a rated range of 222 miles. And then we'd drive down the road maybe to the indoor water park. As the temperature would warm up throughout the day, of course the battery in the car warms up a little bit more. So by the time we were done at the water park, we could come back out to the car and it would have a rated range of 260 miles. So I really like how the car is really intuitive. It kind of fluctuates in real time, which is different from other EVs. Some EVs maybe overestimate your range, and then as you're driving, it'll self-correct and give you a lower range. So this is really cool that Hyundai did that with the Ioniq. Really great technology. It gives me a lot of confidence in the vehicle, so a definite plus. Overall, again, I think we'll do another road trip in this vehicle soon. I really liked it. We had a great time. So that is about it for this road trip, but be sure you hit the subscribe button. We're gonna have some great videos coming out soon. I wanna do a video where we test the charging capability here. I know Hyundai says this vehicle can charge from 10% to 80% in 18 minutes. And while I don't doubt it can do that in warm weather, I am curious to see how it's gonna perform in colder weather because the battery is gonna be colder and this vehicle doesn't precondition. So I'm wondering what that charge time is gonna be. So again, be sure you hit that subscribe button, drop this video a like. That's all I've got. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.